Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming to join me today. Um, I'm just in the process of finishing off my dog journals. Um, I was going to make a hardcover journal with 3 signatures, but by the time I'd finished putting all my pockets and things in, it was too big to be one journal. So I've split it into 3 journals, and I'm quite pleased how they've turned out actually. Um, so I've made covers for 2 of them. And I've had a few people ask me how I make my covers. And so I thought I would turn the camera on and show you how I make mine. I know we're all slightly different. So if you know how to make soft cover journals, maybe this video isn't for you, but I like to see how people make things. That's how I learn. So I like to see people that perhaps use a different technique to me. So I've done this one, so let me just move some things out of the way a little bit. So this is the first one that I made, so soft cover fabric, and I've got some fabric that's got these dogs on, so I've cut them out and stitched them on, and on the back as well. The signature's not quite ready to stitch in yet, but I just wanted to make the covers. So these have got the pockets at the edges, front and back, that I'll put something in, and then this one's it's nearly ready to go in. So yeah, that's that one, all but ready. Move that one over to the side. Then this is the second one that I've done. Sorry, I always get the seam binding in a mess. And my seam binding I get from Laura at the Papered Soul on Etsy, and she has fantastic colours. So if you do want some seam binding, pop over and see Laura. This one I've done slightly different to that one. I don't like to make my covers the same. So this one, it's got a pocket in the front and it's got a pocket in the back. So there's some lace on there. Again, this one has different pockets, so that's the signature that's going to be stitched in this one. And it's got 2 pockets here, so one there and one there, and again I've used some of that fabric that I had. And then this one, that's going to go in there, and then this one's just about ready as well to go in. So pleased at how that one's looking. So they've all got fabric tabs down the front, so you can see how they would have been much too big to make one journal out of. And then this is the final signature that I've got that's going to go in. They all use Mrs. Cogg's dog journal kit, and Artie Mazur's William Morris is in here. But they have different pages of the kits in them, so neither of them are exactly the same. They don't have all the kit pages in. I've just used a variety of kit pages in them. So the way that I do my journals, my soft cover journals, is I take a guesstimate measurement around, and that's about 30 centimetres. So I know that's about 12 inches. I always check because I like these to come, I don't know if you can see from here, just before the edge of the actual journal cover. So they're not sticking proud of it, if you can see. They're kind of flush with it. And that's my personal choice. Everybody can be different, of course. But that's how I like to do mine. So I needed a cover on this one that was going to be about 12 inches. And height-wise, I think it's 8. Yeah, the papers in here are 8 inches, so I would do that one 8.5, so it's 1/4 of an inch either side. Now the stuff that I use to make my soft cover journals, I know people use card and I know people use envelopes, and you can add fabric to it to give it some more strength, but because I sell my journals, I just don't feel comfortable with that. Again, personal choice. So what I use is this stuff here, and I get it it comes off a roll, so it gets cut, and it's called Pelmet facing here in the UK. So I use that and cut the size that I want. It's quite stiff. I don't know if you can see. It's stiffer than paper. It's like it's card, but not book weight card. So it's quite stiff. And this one that I get I don't suppose you can see, but it's got iron-on adhesive on one side, so it's you can iron fabric to one side of it. It's got kind of a shine to it, so you can see. I don't think it's picking that. Maybe it picked that up. So I've cut this to size, so I've cut it 8.5 tall and 12 inches wide. And I always like to check before I go and attach my fabrics, and I'm happy with that. Can you see it's nice and flush with the tabs that I've put in? So I'm happy, and it's not smaller than the pages, it's that little bit bigger, so I've got about 1/4 of an inch either side. So I'm happy with that, and if it expands, there's still room. So that's the size that I would go with. Sorry, I've cut some of the bits ready to try and save a bit of time. I don't know how to join videos together, so I have to do it all in one go. So the fabric that I'm going to use for this cover, this is the last piece that I've got, it's kind of a pretend newspaper for dogs. So it's got all sorts of adverts and things in there, and I'm going to use that. So I just had enough to do it. So the way that I do it is I iron my fabric on. Obviously I've cut this bigger than I need. I iron it on, and then I'll fold the edges and glue them. And it's a case of deciding where I want the let me start again. Because this fabric has images on it, I need to decide where I want those images to be. And I don't want to lose that dog, because I love the way that his ears are flapping. So I want it to be about there, because that's where it folds in half, you see. So if I iron it there, I'm going to get that. But what am I going to get on the back? Yeah, so I'm going to get that as well. So I'm happy with that. So I want to make sure that that's about the place that I put it on. Now, with this one, if we just go back to this one, I do like to put pockets like this, because it's a nice big pocket. You can tuck lots of stuff in it. I usually put a couple of journaling cards in there, but the new owner, there's lots of space there that they can put things that they want to add to the journal or keep safe. So I like to use pockets like that. And what I would normally do to do that is I would make sure that this piece of fabric is long enough to have the pockets that turn over. So I do it all from one piece of fabric. This isn't quite big enough, because they would be really diddy little pockets. By the time you've put them on, there's not enough there to be a pocket. You could add lace to it and extend it, you know, if that's what you really wanted to do. But I had an extra small piece of fabric, so what I've done is I've cut some extra of the pelmet facing the size that I want the pockets to be. That was the size. Yeah, I'm putting bigger pockets on these than I would normally do, because again, I just don't want to lose the images. So I've cut that and I've ironed it on ready. So because it's adhesive one side, it's iron on. Can you see it? It doesn't come off. Well, that bit does, because I've not ironed it on very well. I just did it roughly, but it just sticks it nicely to it, so it's not going to go anywhere. But what you would normally do is, for example, if this piece was big enough, so you'd have your pocket there, I would cut a piece of the pelmet facing the size that I want. So this is 8.5 tall, so that would be 8.5 tall plus the width of the pocket that I wanted. And then I would iron this on to the fabric, back of the fabric, and then I would iron this on as well, and I'd leave a little gap, not quite 1/4 inch, so that it can fold over and be a pocket. But because this fabric isn't big enough, I'm making my pockets separate. So what I'm going to go away and do off camera is I am just going to go and iron this piece of fabric onto this piece of fabric. So just bear with me for one moment. Okay, back again. So I've now ironed this on. I've not ironed it solidly, but I've ironed it on so that it won't come off whilst I do the next bit. So to turn these edges over, I want about 1/2 inch bigger than the journal's going to be, so that I've got enough room to turn. So I'm just going to trim that fabric down. Take about half an inch is plenty. Okay. Just prop my glue there. The corners I cut, I've got a quilting ruler that I use. I know not everybody has. It's just one of those things that I've got that I find useful. And it's got a 1/4 inch corner. So I just cut a little snip off the corners, just so that it's going to make it nice and neat. Sorry, I think I've got a bit of hay fever today. There's lots of, where I live, there's lots of oilseed rape fields over the back of us. It just tickles my nose. Okay, I now turn these over and glue them down, and I use a fabric glue. It's a high-tack fabric glue. If you're going to do this, then, you know, whatever glue is best for you. And of course, it's not going to want to come out, is it? So you just use whatever works best for you. But I've found that this is quite good. It holds quite quickly. Saying that, you watch, it'll be slow. Just one moment. A little bit of heat from the iron just helps it to catch. There we go. I'm nearly out of this glue and must get some more. So I've got it, I'm keeping it upside down. Again, just fold that one over. And just iron that one as well. Just whistle to yourselves a minute while I do this. It'll be 1 minute. There's one, make the other one done. And then the corners, some glue down there. And doing the fabric, it's the same as if you were doing this with card. You know, if you were covering something in card and folding your corners so that they are nice and neat and tidy. It's just the same. Just turn that one in a little bit. Again, just whistle for a minute while I'm just catch that. I have got my iron right next to me, so I'm not dashing away too far. I just can't get everything on screen. Just turn that over a little. There we go. I know Fabri-Tac's that bit quicker, but it's just so expensive. So I save it for special occasions. There we are, that one's stuck now. Okay, so there we have the cover. Isn't it cute, that fabric? I do wish I'd got some more. And then just again, you can see that it fits nicely in there. I've got that lovely dog on there, the good, the bad and the robbery. And on the back there, all the images. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. I always like to check as I'm going along. Now, on this one, I've stitched different things. I've stitched these little snips of fabric on to decorate it. And if you were going to do that with you, if you're using this method and you're going to do that, then this is the stage where you do it, okay? So that your stitching is underneath your inside fabric, if that makes sense. So if I was going to put something on here, you just grab one of those little dogs. So if I was going to put something on here, then I would do that now. If you've got a picture topper that you were going to put on, or another pocket, or whatever you were going to do, at this point I would do the stitching or gluing or whatever you're going to do and add it to it. So that's where I would do that now. I'm not going to do that, but I do want the ties to be on at this point. So the ties I want to come out of the sides. So the way that I do that, sorry if I'm showing you things that you already know. The halfway point, just a little mark so that I know roughly where halfway is. I think I got that one wrong. No, that's right. So they should be, yep, they're both level. And again, my glue, I've got seam binding. This time I'm using this green because I'm using this fabric with the spot. It's like a green spot and it matches that. So I didn't want, because this cover is like a cream and black, I didn't want to use a dark one on it. So my seam binding is going to go underneath the lining fabric. And so attach that at this point. It's up to you. You don't have to attach it at this point. You know, again, personal choice. I like it. To me, it's double stuck if I put it on now because it's going to have another piece of fabric over the top of it and it's going to be stitched in. So to me, it's like a double whammy. It's safe. It's not going to come out. But again, if you want to put, you know, you don't have to put them like this. You can put a tie all the way around it. You know, whatever closure you've chosen is perfectly fine. Okay, this is just the way that I do things. So I've just caught those on there with a little bit of glue. And then I've cut my material that's going to line this. And that should just about fit. Yep, it's a little bit shorter than I would have liked, but it's what I wanted to use. And it gets caught in with the stitching because I'm going to stitch all the way around it. So that's fine. I don't mind that there's a border that you can see there. I hope I'm in frame and you can see okay. Now to attach this piece of fabric, you can use glue, you know, whatever method is best for you. Personally, what I do is I back the fabric with Bondaweb. I don't usually use the Vaseline because I find it expensive, but I had to get this online when we were in lockdown because the shop that I go to was shut. But I usually buy it off a roll and I find it cheaper. But this is, it's double-sided, so it's like Bondaweb, Wonderweb, whatever you call it. You iron it on and then you peel the paper off, so it's double-sided sticky. I find it works wonders. So I will iron that on there. Peeling as if I can. Peel the backing off. So I've already ironed it on ready. I do try, sorry it's noisy isn't it, I do try and peel it off in one go because I use that in a journal then as a journal page. It's like tracing paper and it makes good bags as well. You know, you can make glassine bags and things with it. So let me just go and iron this on now and then I will be straight back. One moment. Okay, back again. So I've now ironed the fabric onto the inside as well, and you can see it's still flexible, it's still a soft cover, and you can start to get a feeling of what it's going to look like. So we've got that lovely spotty fabric there, and then we've got that lovely green tie there. It's like a mint green, I guess. So I'm really happy with the way this one's turning out. So now we move to the pockets. So we were going to add those pockets on, and as I say, I've ironed this on. I know it's not stuck there, but it will be. And then all that I do is turn the edges under in the same way as if we were making that cover. So I would just mitre the, no, I'm just thinking about this. Yeah, I am going to. It just makes it that little bit bulkier. But I'm going to cut that down a bit. We don't need all that on there. We just need enough really just to turn over. Gosh, I've got threads and cottons everywhere, haven't I? And I think my cutter needs a new blade. I know not everybody, I've got the wrong one, that's why. I know not everybody uses these cutters, but I find it really useful. I've got one for fabric and that one's for paper. That's why it didn't cut. And then again, same as before, just to hold it in place while I'm doing this. Just that little bit of fabric glue just to hold it down. Let me just go and put this through the iron. I'll be with you one moment. Okay, back again. Sorry that I keep stopping and starting this video, but as I say, I don't know how to splice things together. So I've done my pockets, got them ready. So you can see on the back, just the same as if you were covering a piece of card with paper. I've just done it with fabric. I've also stitched down the edge that's going to be the opening of the pocket. So I don't know if you can see, I've just done a zigzag stitch down there. And that's just to make sure that because I only put a little bit of glue on it, didn't I? Make sure that doesn't come off. And then these pockets, making sure that I've got this the right way up, of course. These pockets are going to go, miracle, look, they fit on there. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue just down the edge, just to kind of hold it in place while I stitch, because I'm going to stitch around this. Now, if you haven't got a sewing machine or you didn't want to stitch, then you know you don't have to. You just need to make sure that you're using a glue that's strong enough to hold the fabric. So you know, I guess if you've got Fabri-Tac and you use that and you're confident it's going to be in place, or you could hand sew. You know, we all do things differently, don't we? And then that's going to go on there like that. Okay, so what I do then is I stitch all the way around with a zigzag so that it holds these. It's just make sure that's a nice neat edge, and then Bob's your uncle and we've finished. So I'll just nip off and I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, thank you for being patient. I'm back. So I've now stitched, I hope you can see, I've stitched all the way around, all the way and up there. So now I've got a nice big pocket on that side, and I've got a nice big pocket on that side. You can see the join obviously because there's a bit of thread there, look. Don't know where my scissors are. There we go. Obviously you can see where I've joined the pocket, but that's fine. You can see where I've put this pocket on here, you know, so it doesn't look messy, it's nice and tidy. And if we put sorry, I love these images. I just had to stop and look then, didn't I? So if we close it like that, I didn't want to add anything else to this because I just love this fabric. I mean, you could put lace on it, you could do all sorts to it. But I think this journal cover, it's just this fabric that sets it off. And I know I've got to finish these signatures off. I've got a few finishing touches to do. But when that's in and that's tied up, isn't that pretty? So that's how I made that one. You've seen me do it. It's nice and sturdy. It won't, this Bondaweb, sorry, not Bondaweb, the pelmet facing, it doesn't tear. You can't tear it. You can cut it, but you can't tear it. So I'm confident that that's not going to rip and tear, and it gives a nice sturdy, and it does feel nice. I have also used wadding between the fabric and the pelmet facing sometimes and stitched things on, and that gives it a nice padded feel. If you look back at my videos, all of my soft cover journals are made this way. They're just all slightly different. Just take these signatures out. So they are just all slightly different things that you can do with them. So as I say, these and this fabric I've backed, it's the Bondaweb again, sorry, pelmet facing again. So I've just made those pockets and stitched them on. Obviously I put that on before stitching it on here, otherwise you'd stitch your pocket shut. And I just wanted them to have a little bit of a curve to them. I just think that looks, I think that dog's looking wistfully. I think he wants a cuddle as well, doesn't he? So yeah, the signature obviously gets stitched in here and comes through. Again, this is a pocket that I've added on. So when it lays flat, you know, you've got your pocket so that it'll be front and back, but because the signature will be stitched in, that'll be two proper pockets. And then this last one, I fussy cut these images out of the fabric that I had, stitched them on, and I stitched them on before I put this and these. The fabric was wide enough for me to put the extra on and flap them over, and then again I've just stitched all the way around, and it's got the pockets. And you can't feel where I've zigzagged and stitched these on, you can't see the stitching, and you can't feel it. Even when I've put buttons on the front, you know, if I've made a topper, so if I've made done an image and backed it to cardboard and stitched it on, I always stitch it on before I put this fabric in the middle. And it just takes that little bit longer just to iron it on around the buttons, but it's fine, it just irons on really nicely. So I don't know if this has been useful or not, but I had a couple of people ask how I did my softcover journals, and I would love to know how you do yours. You know, I'm all for learning, self-taught, as I guess a lot of us are. It's just, I love watching all of you create different things, and I learn from watching other people how they make things, and yet we always adapt them, don't we, and do it slightly differently. But I'm pleased at the way that mine turn out when I do it this way. They have a good sturdy feel to them. They feel nice because they're soft. They have that nice feel to them. So they do feel a bit squidgy with the papers inside. So I've got that one, and that will have a dog image journaling card in there. I just haven't, these are sort of the finishing touches I need to do, the tags for the pockets and things. And then that one as well. So I hope that you found this useful. I'm sorry I had to stop and start it. But as I say, one day I'll learn how to edit. But these are my 3 dog journals, and I hope that you've enjoyed watching. So please all take care, and I hope you can come back and join me soon. Take care. Bye bye.